Welcome along to our CONCACAF Nations League pregame here on CBS Sports HQ, presented by Verizon. Alongside Ian Joy, I'm Poppy Miller. A busy summer of international football continues tonight in Denver. The US will take on Honduras coming up at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then following that match, it's Mexico taking on Costa Rica. The winners will meet in the inaugural final on Sunday, June 6th. And time now to welcome in our former US internationals, Jimmy Conrad, who joins us from San Francisco, and Heath Pearce, who's in Denver at Mile High Stadium, along with our very own Luis Miguel Echegaray. Heath, Luis, it's good to see you. First of all, how is Denver, and how good is it to be back for your first live sporting event since the pandemic?
Well, you hit it right there. The nail on the head, Poppy. It's so great to just be in a stadium full of fans. The soccer community's out, the USMNT, Honduras, and so much more. It's just a great, great energy. And it's honestly something that we've just been craving for so long. So game aside, obviously what we've wanted for, what we craved about, it's about this. Being inside a stadium and listening to this crowd. Listen to that. It's great.
Yeah, this is exactly what Luis is saying. You're seeing the team walk past us right now. The crowd is getting into it. We're used to hearing that PA noise in an empty stadium, but now to have fans in the stadium starting to build that energy level, it's just an incredible feeling. And around a game of consequence, it can't get better than this.
Well, you guys look fantastic there. It's great to see the players behind you. It's even better to see fans in the stands. Jimmy, I know that you're wishing you were there with them. It's been over 500 days since the US last played in an official competition. What are you most looking forward to with tonight's performance?
Yeah, I will admit, Poppy, to being a little bit jealous, even though they look like they're sweating a little bit in those coats. So maybe they'll tell us if that's true or not in a little bit. For me, personally, I'm just glad we have a meaningful game to judge these players on and to start to really lay the groundwork and the foundation for how this core group of players is going to move forward through World Cup qualifying, through the Gold Cup this summer, of course, and as the World Cup is approaching quite quickly here in about a year and a half. So there are a lot of questions that I think that need to be answered, and we only can get those answers from meaningful games. So I know this is Honduras, and they might not have that attacking prowess of a top European nation or Mexico, our big rival here in CONCACAF, but they are going to come at you with desire and work effort. They're going to be physical. They're going to make it very difficult for them to break down. So there's a lot of other things that I think we can judge our players on as we start to try to find and identify that best starting 11 for us moving forward.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily matter who the competition is. The fact that it is a competitive game where this team recognizes it's no longer friendly. There's no longer a stadium that's completely empty. There will be an attendance there. The guys have got to be up for this from minute one. And the fact that our guys are also in stadium, it's great to see Heath and Luis there feeling that energy, recognizing themselves that this game means something. When you put your people out there, it's great to see. But I think Greg Berhalter recognizes the importance of this game, not just the result, but also the performance. And I expect a big one today.
Well, it's been a tough stretch for this group to get to this point, and now they've got a really good test on their hands because of the pandemic. We saw them play at the weekend against Switzerland, of course. Heath, when you look at this team, what adjustments are you expecting Greg Berhalter to make ahead of this match tonight?
Well, you have to come out and play to win, right? This is a project. It's a long-term project with U.S. Soccer, with Greg Berhalter, but you have to be willing to sacrifice to win. A few fun facts for you guys. This is the youngest team that they've put out in an official competition since 2007 against Colombia in the Copa America. And Charlie Davies, who's with the Paramount Plus team, and myself played in that. Jimmy was there in the tournament as well, but he was bringing up that age. But it's the youngest team since that time. There's 10 players on this team that haven't played in an official competition for U.S. Soccer at the men's national team level. So it's lacking experience in a lot of ways. Yes, they have club experience. Yes, they have elite capabilities. But now how you bring that together requires them to be willing to sacrifice. And no, take what the game gives you. It might not be pretty, but if you're willing to sacrifice some of that, traditionally you're going to get a result against a team like Honduras, who will also bring that fight and mentality. But I think on paper we're better, and if you bring those two things together, we should be able to get a result today.
Yeah, Yeah, I think the theme is win. I think we've said it. Ian said it earlier. I think Heath just pointed it out perfectly. Listen, as you mentioned, Poppy, Switzerland, the friendly that just happened. But before that, even all the way through 2020, during the pandemic, all these friendlies, in the essence of victory, have actually been meaningless because it's been about philosophy, step by step, of course, culture, and making sure that every player understands what they need to do. But this tournament right now is the beginning of everything. Win. Make things happen, because enough is enough. Christian Pulisic is a Champions League winner. We've got cup winners in Serginho Dest, Brendan Aronson winning the double as well. So many players in Europe doing their thing. So now this is the opportunity to say, not only are we going to do it domestically, but we're going to do it internationally as well.
Well, the US with their sights set on the final, which is coming up this Sunday, but tonight they've got to get the job done here. Jimmy, you wear many hats for us, one of them being our betting analyst. So what are you going for tonight?
Yeah, it's a tough one, Poppy, not only because Heath is taking shots at me and I can't respond immediately, but also because I just don't know if Honduras is going to score or not in this one. I haven't decided if I think we're going to win. That goes without saying. I believe that we were going to win. I think that's what the American Outlaws like to sing about. I just don't know if Honduras is going to score. They have some attacking options. They're good on set pieces. And obviously we're good, but we're still trying to figure out what our best 11 and best back four are. And so that's going to be a bit of a challenge. So I'm just going to go the over on this. I think it's going to be over 2.5 goals. We could win 2-1. We could win 3-0. I just think we're going to be up for it. I think we have some ideas and obviously some attacking talent that are going to get opportunities on goal. And I like us to win in the over 2.5 plus 110. That feels a little safe, but I feel like that's the right way to go just because of this Honduras team being a little bit unpredictable in a lot of different ways. And then I like Christian Pulisic to score anytime plus 160. Yeah, maybe he's a little bit tired, but he didn't play in the Switzerland friendly, so he's got a little bit of rest. And he only played, 30-some minutes in the Champions League final? It's not like he started and really expended so much of his energy that he couldn't be ready for this one. Plus, what kind of confidence does somebody have after they win the Champions League? He is going to be flying, and I think he's going to be up for this as he tries to lead us to success as well. So I like that value a lot. I was actually pretty surprised that he went off at plus 160.
Yeah, I love that pick, Jimmy. I really fancy Christian Pulisic myself, actually, to have a massive impact in this game. I think he's got a point to prove. He obviously wanted to go straight into the starting lineup, which is awesome to see. Anytime you have Captain America who wants to play, you got to throw him out there, because he's got that point to prove, and this is a competitive game, and you have to get off to a good start. So play your best players, and I'm not surprised to see him go straight into the starting lineup. It's a strong, strong starting 11 for Greg Berhalter. Obviously, you have Zach Steffen as the captain of the side today. It's a big moment for him. Dest moves, obviously, into that position where he is unfamiliar, but familiar for the national team on the left-hand side, getting forward. Robinson as well, they'll probably switch, but I think it's great to see, obviously, McKenzie getting his opportunity alongside the experienced John Brooks. I think it gets interesting here. Jackson Yueill in that holding role has a massive role to play today. I think Weston McKennie, he has got another point to prove again today. Great experience. He's had a good season. He's proved many people wrong in a Juventus jersey this year. And Sebastian Lletget getting his opportunity. I love to see that Greg gives a chance to players when they're playing well for him. Up top is where the pressure's at. We know what Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic will do, but Josh Sargent needs to start producing. I know and recognise the hard work that he does for this team, dropping off, picking up possession, linking up his midfielders, but I want to see him score, and I'm going to put my money on him getting a goal today, Josh Sargent.
And going against the US today, this is the starting 11 for Honduras.
Yeah, we think they're going to go with a sort of 4-3-3 lineup here. Luis Lopez gets his opportunity, earning his 29th cap in goal today. It's an experienced backline. Diego Rodriguez, Mena Figueroa. He's 38 years old. He captains the side. Marcelo Pereira and Kevin Alvarez. They've only conceded 1 goal in group play to get to this stage, so not an easy team to score goals against, even though the group stage wasn't necessarily so competitive. Jonathan Toro Rubio holding in midfield. Debbie Flores, the Italian-based 22-year-old Rigoberto Rivas, who plays for Regina in Serie B, gets the nod as well. And in attacking midfield, Alexander Lopez, a player who I'm excited to see earning his 35th cap. He's looking for his 5th goal. And then up top, you've always got to watch out for the pace, because they're dangerous. Whenever you have Elise up there, he's a threat. He loves to get in behind. He loves to knock the ball past that last defender. It's a dangerous Honduras side. It's very dangerous. Defensively, US have to be switched on today, Poppy.
And Lozano, of course, with a great season in La Liga as well. Jimmy, we've already mentioned the youth of this group for Greg Berhalter. It's so many positives that come from that. But on the other side of it, who are you looking for to be a leader for this team today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Christian Pulisic has a good opportunity. Zach Steffen coming back into the team as well from Manchester City after winning the Premier League and unfortunately losing in the Champions League final. Him coming in and really establishing himself as the #1. We all know that he is, but you have to continue to prove it game in and game out. And actually, one of the things I'm really excited to see is having a center back pairing for consecutive games. So now we get Brooks and McKenzie for 2 consecutive games. And this is an area of the field that I think is very important for us because that's where a lot of leadership extends from. When you can see the whole field as a center back, and I'm speaking as one myself, and you really dictate when the team presses, when the team drops off, and when you have a lot of pace, like Honduras does have up top with Albert Elise, that is something to worry about because if you don't have good, adequate pressure on the ball, you have to drop off, and that can create gaps. So the communication is going to be really important. So there's a lot of these little relationships, Poppy, that I'm paying attention to, and from those little relationships then extends that leadership that you're talking about. And as people build that trust and rapport, that's when we can start building these pieces that are going to allow us to have success through World Cup and qualifying for World Cups and all these competitions that we want to be champions of. I mean, that's the only reason we're here to play, right, is to win, as Heath and Luis were saying.
Yeah, you got to put your best players out there like we've done also in Denver, sending our best people out there. Luis Miguel Echegaray, it's great to see you on location, but being there, feeling the energy, what is it like, the buzz, the media attention, just you being back there and amongst everybody? How does that feel and how is the buzz around the game today?
Well, I gotta tell you, the atmosphere is fantastic. You have a multitude of fans, obviously all from the 4 nations, but every single fan I'm looking at, they're smiling, they're so excited, and honestly, it's emotional because we've been through so much, not just as soccer fans, but as human beings, through the pandemic, through all the struggles, and this is just a celebration of the beautiful game. And this is why this tournament, I think, is so important. So obviously, yes, it's about the USMNT and what they have to do, but it's also about the celebration of CONCACAF and the celebration of these teams and these players and everything that they've gone through. And finally, in front of their own fans, their own countries, their own nations, they can say, here, we're going to give you a show, and hopefully we'll get that win for you.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. You know, if you look around the stadium here, you go back a few years where we're talking about the sleeping giant of U.S. soccer, that fandom. You have the expansion of Major League Soccer clubs across the country. Fans are finding more local teams in lower and higher divisions. But now it's time to reawake those fans where everybody rallies around the U.S. national team. And they're starting to come out here, but it also needs to be supported with results. The U.S. women's national team is the most popular team in the United States across all sports. Well, the men have the opportunity to start to establish that as well. Awake that sleeping giant of U.S. soccer fandom, of sports fandom that are passionate about country. And that starts with getting results here in front of a fan base. You know, they talked about perhaps the stadium wouldn't fill up until around halftime because of the Mexico game coming secondarily. But I'm seeing a lot of red, white, and blue here right now, and I'm really excited to see them represent this fan base and hopefully make this fan base proud and get a result here tonight as well as hopefully on Sunday against Mexico.
Many eyes will be on this U.S. side tonight. Jimmy, I know that you follow CONCACAF closely, though. Where can this Honduras side hurt the U.S., and where are the individual matchups that you're looking for tonight?
Well, I think outside of the strikers that we've talked about, I thought Elise was going to start out wide, maybe in a 4-3-3 for them, but it looks like he's going to start up top. So that means they're going to go with 2 out-and-out strikers. So those matchups, those direct matchups with our center backs, Brooks and McKenzie, are obviously an area of concern for me, or at least an area that I'll be paying attention to. And then really, I kind of want to see how Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic set up, knowing that our 2 outside backs, Anthony Robinson from Fulham and Serginho Dest from Barcelona, are going to be bombing forward. Both of those players like to get forward, and then what happens? If we don't have that discipline and they both try to get forward to get involved in the play, who's going to have to sit? It's going to be Jackson Ewell, I think. So there's these little relationships and little decision-making that our team has to make as a group to figure out how we're going to have that countering and balance and how we're going to dictate the terms. I mean, I could go on and on. How long is this show, Poppy? I mean, there's so many things that I would like to discuss, but I really want to see which players are going to step up now that these games matter and really show themselves as being the leaders for this team moving forward.
I love to see that smile on Jimmy's face because you recognize he means business, and he also wants to get his bets absolutely spot on. So it's nice to see him backing Christian Pulisic from having a massive impact in this game. I think the midfield battle, as you mentioned there, Jackson Ewell, he's got to play an important role today. Sebastian Lletget, I thought he was very good against Switzerland. Another opportunity to shine yet again for the US national team. I think he can have a key role going forward for Greg Berhalter, but he must put out a good performance to stay in the starting 11. We know what Gio Reyna can bring. He's got to be consistently good now for US soccer and for Greg Berhalter to keep his place. We know the talent he's got, but I want to see assists. I want to see goal creation from him. Christian Pulisic will do what he does best. Create opportunities, score goals. But the pressure right now, Jimmy, as far as I'm concerned, is on Josh Sargent. He has got to perform. You're in that position to do a job. Not necessarily just to score, work hard. Make sure you work your socks off for the team. Make sure you link up well with your midfielders, your attacking players wide, but also get yourself into prime position where you could get a goal. He's got a bit of pressure today, Jimmy.
Yeah, he does 100%. I think with regard to Josh Sargent, there is all these little things that you're talking about, and hold-up play is going to be really important, especially because I expect Honduras to sit back a little bit. So if he can hold the ball up and allow Christian Pulisic to join the attack and Gio Reyna to join the attack in a meaningful way and allow us to create those numerical advantages in and around the box, that's going to lead to a lot of success. And then when the ball goes wide, because we have some good width with Dest and Anthony Robinson on either side, getting on the end of crosses, making good runs, and maybe not necessarily runs that he's going to get on the end of, but making runs that create space for somebody else to come in. And Sebastian Lletget has been excellent in making those late runs into the box in recent friendlies, so we'll see.
So kickoff is approaching from Denver. Louise Heath, we know that you're there. The fireworks are going off behind you. Enjoy the match. And as for everyone else, a reminder that you can watch the match on Paramount+. And we will see you back here in our HQ studios after the final whistle. Plus, former Costa Rican international Rodney Wallace will also be joining us to look ahead to their match against Mexico. We will see you soon. Enjoy the game.